I didn't see. And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me.
As we get older, we realize that relationships are often more about like realizing those things that you have left over from your childhood, things that you idealize and need to be idealized, and not having that be possible, and realizing that, you know, the person you are with, though they don't fit this ideal standard that you have from wherever you got it, they're amazing in this other way that you didn't realize that you needed and that you wanted. I mean, to me, that's what love is. I mean, that's what relationships are. It's finding the greatness, finding the perfect person in your current person. Oh yeah, gotta leave in a little while. But don't ask me why. Yeah, didn't mean to make you cry, my love. 'Cause there's a light shining bright in your eyes tonight, and I can still see your face through the blinding light. I don't wanna live you. Don't walk away. I don't wanna live without you. I can't ever see your face. Isn't that a pretty song? I don't do it quite as well as the original Greg Tripp. It's from a movie that came out when I was a very young boy called Cuffs. I remember loving the movie Cuffs very much, and loving that song from it. It is the one of the refrains in the movie. It's a good song, and if you like classic heartfelt ballads, it's one for you. So today we're going to watch Invisible Thread. I really like the atmosphere in the studio here, which I think is Jack Antonoff's studio. It always has a certain kind of homey vibe, a homey charm to it.
So Invisible String, when I first heard the track that you sent me, I thought, I have to write something that matches it. And pretty quickly I came upon the idea of fate, because sometimes I just, go into a rabbit hole of thinking of how things happen. And I kind of love the romantic idea that every step you're taking one step closer to where you're supposed to be, guided by this little, invisible string.
I remember when I bought this little
very Taoist
guitar.
Before that, I just love to talk about this image here. I love taking this in because they seem like fundamentally different people in appearance, right? We have Taylor Swift is wearing it's like a big shirt. It's like when your girl, like when if a lady wears a shirt of yours, it looks like a man's shirt kind of, but in velvet. I know she likes velvet. It's like a velvet onesie. I wish I could get away with that, just like wearing a giant velvet shirt and no pants. Or she might be wearing pants. I don't know. And then you have Aaron Dessner here, who's dressed more or less like I dress often, all black. He looks like he hasn't had a haircut in quite a while. This is probably middle of the pandemic. He just seems very unkempt. He seems very musician-ish to me, because I know a lot of musicians, I'm not suggesting this about this gentleman, but a lot of musicians really cultivate wanting to look like a legit musician, having the right haircut, having the right clothes. It's nice that neither of these people seem to give an S about either of that. I don't know. They just seem like they both kind of reject it, but from different angles, and it's an interesting contrast.
I remember when I bought this little guitar that has a rubber bridge, which you have one now too, but it has this
you got me one and sent it to me, and it was like I couldn't believe opening up this beautiful isn't it a 50s guitar?
It is from the late 50s, and
Wow.
it's been like renovated so that the bridge deadens the strings and it sounds really old, and it's just a really kind of writes songs for you in a way, because it's so fun to play. And that was the first one that I wrote with it. And then you wrote this incredible song that is all about fate, and that was
This is the bridge of the guitar. He's talking about a rubberized bridge or a rubber bridge that apparently is probably some sort of polymer combination material. So you get a real bright, crisp, clear sound from a guitar. Especially if I was playing with a pick, you'd really hear it. You can deaden that by making this rubber. It'll just kind of interrupt some of that vibration from the strings and give it a kind of retro feel. He says, it writes songs for you, which is kind of a way, it's like when you get so used to playing a certain guitar for a long time, or a certain type of guitar for a long time, and you pick something up that's maybe in a different tuning or has a different sound. Maybe it's a pedal steel guitar, or maybe it's a nylon string, maybe it's a type of guitar you've never played before, and you just are drawn to different sounds. Sometimes a new instrument it'll sound so amazing, this one part of the guitar playing the E like this or whatever. So it's, I really relate to that. I don't have enough guitars. All of these guitars I love, they're very cheap guitars, but they're designed for different sounds and things. And that's, it's just really cool to hear him talk about that, because, I know of instruments like that where everything just sounds great on them.
another moment where I just felt there was this serendipity happening between us and crazy chemistry. As far as like you took exactly what I had written, and it was as though we wrote it together in a room or something.
I remembered I wrote it right after I sent an ex a baby gift. And I was just like, man, life is great. And I just remembered thinking like, this is a full signifier that life is great.
I wrote this after sending a baby gift to an ex. It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say if it hurt her to do that, or if she's just saying, oh, it's great to feel good for somebody, or feel positive for somebody that you broke up with and that you used to really have strong needs regarding. I really don't want to give away specific individuals' names here. I can remember one particular incident in my life where I was really hung up over this girl for years. We had broken up and gotten back together and broken up and blah, blah, blah. And I went to an event with her and her new boyfriend. This was here in LA. And I remember just being like, oh yeah, like if she's into him, like she shouldn't be with me. You know what I mean? Like I kind of realized, oh, this is the type of dude she's into. And I kind of immediately, like I remember it was like years of lost love, sadness. Hold on, we got a helicopter. Just crushing on somebody and not having it work out the way you want. Just like ended like that. It was amazing. It was just a moment of just kind of coming to a realization that I can be happy for this person and that I don't have to make it about me. It doesn't have to be a giant, why isn't she with me? So I understand what she's saying a little bit. When I first heard it, it's like she's saying, oh, I just love sending baby gifts to exes. I thought she was being sarcastic. But I think what she's saying is, no, it was nice to just be able to release something, and not have it be about her.
Green was the color of the grass where I used to read in Centennial Park. I used to think I would meet somebody there. Teal was the color of your shirt when you were 16 at the yogurt shop. You used to work out to make a little money. Turn, curious turn, give me no compasses, give me no signs. Were there clues I didn't see? And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me?
That I can hear immediately what he's talking about with the old guitar. Something like that. First thing it evokes, doesn't even sound like a guitar. It sounds like a harp. I'm immediately reminded of Van Morrison's version of "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue," which I'll play a little bit for you right now. I'm not saying the melody is the same, but it kind of has that same haunting, kind of distant sound, like you're hearing strings in another room or in like another realm. One thing I really like about this album is like it's just an acoustic album. They're just keeping it kind of in that realm, the acoustic realm, and they're not feeling the need to like, well, we can't have an album with all acoustic songs. Well, yeah, you absolutely can. People used to do it all the time, and they're doing it here. All right, so let's take a look at these lyrics here. Green was the color of the grass where I used to read at Centennial Park. I used to think I wouldn't meet somebody there. I used to think I would meet somebody there. I love lyrics like that. Just open, direct thoughts. Very relatable thought. I used to think I would meet somebody at this park, I used to go to this particular movie theater because I thought I'd fall in love there, I love the term, it's pretty to think. That's what makes me think that she's saying it's childish or it's foolish. To me, that's a very youthful thought. The idea that there's this one person that you're destined to meet. I really hope that's not the case. I'm reminded just very much of being kind of young and deciding I am supposed to be with person X, and the world knows this and the universe is pushing me towards that person. As we get older, we realize that relationships are often more about like realizing those things that you have left over from your childhood, things that you idealize and need to be idealized, and not having that be possible, and realizing that the person you are with, though they don't fit this ideal standard that you have from wherever you got it, they're amazing in this other way that you didn't realize that you needed and that you wanted. I mean, to me, that's what love is. I mean, that's what relationships are. It's finding the greatness, finding the perfect person in your current person. So I hear her being sarcastic there, but maybe that's just because I'm sarcastic. She might just be very sincere that this was an invisible string bringing her to her guy.
Bad was the blood of the song in the cab on your first trip to LA. You ate at my favorite spot for dinner. Bold was the waitress on a 3-year trip, getting lunch down by the lakes. She said I looked like an American singer. Time, mystical time, cutting me open, then healing me fine. Were there clues I didn't see? And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me?
Bad was the blood of the song in the cab on your first trip to LA. You ate at my favorite spot for dinner. Bold was the waitress on your 3-year trip, getting lunch down by the lakes. She said I looked like an American singer. So now we're older, where she's in LA, he comes. Bad was the blood of the song in the cab. So I'm just getting imagery of a cab ride, maybe from LAX. From this, I just get kind of clashing worlds, bringing this person in from where you grew up and having them kind of try to fit into your life now here in LA. You bring him to your favorite spot. You try to kind of like ingratiate him into the world that you know. Bold was the waitress on our 3-year trip, getting lunch down by the lakes. That not to be indelicate, that sounds a little bit like Taylor Swift was insulted not to be recognized. It's like, oh, she looks like somebody. I don't know when this was. It was probably when she was much younger, maybe not as famous. Or maybe she was more... I don't know. But that's immediately, sometimes people who are very used to getting recognized, when they aren't recognized, it can irk them. But it seems like she's reminiscing about kind of the disillusionment of this child-like fantasy she had.
And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me? Ooh, string that pulled me out of all the wrong arms right into that dive bar. Something wrapped all up my past mistakes in barbed wire. Chains around my demons, wool to brave the seasons. One single thread of gold tied me to you.
A string that pulled me out of all the wrong arms right into that dive bar. I guess I've heard about this dive bar before. I guess maybe that's one of her first performances, was in a dive bar somewhere. Maybe she met this guy at a dive bar? That's my guess. Maybe she met this dude that she's singing about at a dive bar. I don't know if she's literally singing about her guy or if this is more of the kind of metaphorical guy. I a little bit hope that she's singing to herself, because you want to be able to get over past relationships, not necessarily just by getting into a new relationship. Yes, that will help out a lot, but you want to really kind of conquer those things on their own terms and be able to send your friends, babies, presents because you've kind of moved on and you've coped with it, not necessarily because you've just found somebody else. That's just my opinion.
Cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. Gold was the color of the leaves when I showed you around Centennial Park. Hell was the journey, but it brought me heaven. Time, wonder is time. Give me the blues and that purple pink skies, and it's cool, baby, with me. And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me.
Interesting. So we kind of do end on the bridge being A minor, G, and D being played. I can tell she really likes writing this song, because in general I think she usually goes bridge back to chorus to end the song, but here we're going into a whole new verse. I can tell that she didn't really want to lose any of these verses. It sounds like she's saying, I kind of took this out on this new guy. I kind of took out my my kind of angst toward these guys on this new dude. Now I send their babies presents, which is like, oh, I'm so over it because I have this new guy. Gold was the color of the leaves when I showed you around Centennial Park. Hell was the journey, but it brought me heaven. So obviously this is a specific person. She's brought him back to this place in her life where she grew up, and she had all these, oh, I'll meet somebody there. And so she brought him there. Kind of an interesting idea. So really pretty song, really like the guitars, and gosh, moving right along here. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Come back next week. We'll have something brand new for you, and there'll be a little special something hopefully coming out in the middle of the week next week. Keep an eye out for it. It involves Rainn Wilson. Until next time, keep playing.